This is part 2 of our deep dive into the transformation of the entire Musk ecosystem. With SpaceX preparing to go public next year and pushing hard into space-based AI data centers, the big question is, what happens when all of Elon's companies finally link up? A few days ago, Elon revealed 2 huge clues. First, he said the AI5 and AI6 chips have taken more of his personal time than anything else. Second, he said AI chips are needed for everything, across every business he runs. And he wasn't exaggerating. Tesla, SpaceX, XAI, Neuralink, and even the Boring Company are all starting to converge. Today, we'll break down over a dozen ways these companies will plug into each other, not just the obvious ones, but the ones almost nobody talks about, and why this integrated Musk economy could become nearly unstoppable. We got Larry Goldberg joining us again. He's a serial entrepreneur, has been an active venture capital investor for the last decade. Check out his website at lumicente.com. Thank you, Larry.
Great to be here, Herbert.
We had a great show yesterday. We talked about how could Tesla investors participate in a SpaceX IPO. We talked about the just incredible advantage Elon might have when he goes SpaceX IPO, raises billions of dollars, and then the space-based satellites, data centers. So today, I wanted to discuss more about all the different ways that the companies are actually going to work together. And we have a whole list of just ideas of how this could happen. If you're a Tesla investor, this is massive for you. What's happening with SpaceX, what's happening with X, what's happening with Neuralink, all of this matters. Let's start off with Elon's comments. So Phil Basel wrote his post. He was saying that AI5 is the platform chip. So one of the reasons why the AI5 was delayed and why Elon has been spending his weekends with the AI chip team is because it's actually a platform. This was a redesign of the AI4 and others, and he needed to make it something that is more beneficial in many ways, but also something that they can now get into a yearly cadence. So AI5 is expected to reach volume availability in early 2027, with initial silicon arriving in 2026. Tesla introduced hardware for AI4 in January 2023, so AI5 follows roughly 4 years later, so it seems to be late. However, Elon has hinted that AI6 and AI7 will move to an annual cadence, similar to how Apple reiterates on its A-series processors. That may sound ambitious, but it's not unrealistic. AI5 isn't just a straightforward evolution of AI4. It's effectively the first chip in a new architectural family. It carries substantially more Tesla-designed IP, and it's purpose-built for Tesla's long-term inference roadmap, FSD, Optimus, data center workloads. In other words, AI5 is a re-baseline for everything that follows, okay? That's why it's so critical. It's going to be used for everything that matters. Data centers, Optimus bots, FSD. Elon needed to make it happen. Elon liked this post. I think he might have even reacted to it. So it's a full system on a chip wafer, I guess, system on chip, SoC, right? You know that. Anyway, so then Elon said, yep, AI5 and AI6 engineering is my biggest time allocation at Tesla. AI5 will be good. AI6 will be great. So he's spending all his time there. And then Omar said Elon is locked in on chips. And he said AI chips are needed for everything. Comments on this?
Well, I mean, we're at the heart of the business today is AI, and it's the heart of Tesla, obviously, for both the humanoid bot and for FSD, rideshare. It is the heart of XAI, and it's going to be the heart of every piece of software that we create in the next decade and even beyond. And so for Neuralink, it's going to be important. It probably is even important for Boring Company. And so, yeah, it's pretty damn important, but it certainly brings together all of the Muskonomy into sort of one focus. And that focus is real-world AI. And to enable the real-world AI, we need that chip. But, it's also going to be the heart of the AI centers in the sky. And all that follows from that.
And every device. I mean, and embodied AI is not just cars and robots. It's going to be anything. AI can make it intelligent with a camera and a chip and then any device, any size. I bet you he's going to create a display, some sort of, jewelry or something that
personal device.
Yeah,
I
there's
think
going to be personal device
personal
for
device
sure.
is very interesting to see where Elon lands on that issue, whether he actually pursues that or not, and what form it takes. Probably take a form of an interface to Grok. Some way have to.
It's a glass law.
The cars become an interface to Grok, and Grok's going to become the controlling function of the car. So that's a device. So when you step out of the car, you'll need a continuation of that device. And so, is it a phone? It's quite, calling a phone a phone is just sort of,
It's archaic. It's like
it
one
is
feature.
archaic. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
one
yeah. It's
feature.
one. Yeah.
So I like this post from Farzad. It explains a little bit of how the three companies, XAI, SpaceX, and Tesla could work together. And it's just really one thing to think about. Okay. So he goes, okay, think about in 2028, Tesla makes the AI7 inference chip. We just talked about how Elon is planning that. Okay. So Tesla's now making AI7 inference chips. XAI will buy that AI7 inference chip, and they'll put it into their data warehouses, but they'll also put it in their Starlink AI satellites. Okay, Starlink AI satellite goes into Starship because you need to send that satellite up. Starship goes to space, drops off a Starlink AI satellite in orbit, right? Tesla solar panels unfurl. I don't know if it has to be Tesla solar panel, but yeah, I guess so. Power Starlink AI satellite with Tesla inference chips. Okay. XAI uses Tesla powered Starlink. By the way, I've been saying this, but Brian Wang pointed out that in a data center, the inference chips is 70% of the cost. So it's going to be very lucrative for Tesla whenever they send out these AI data center satellites, either in space or on Earth. XAI uses Tesla powered Starlink AI satellites, okay, dropped off by SpaceX to power Grok across all devices, including Tesla cars and Tesla bots. Starship goes up multiple times per day to drop off more satellites because the regulations for putting AI inference chips in space pale in comparison to those on surface of Earth. We talked about in the last episode all the benefits of doing AI data centers in space versus on Earth. Everyone stands around and wonders how XAI built such a massive lead. Yeah.
So I have a modification to that presentation, which is really good. And my modification is that I don't think it's going to be four separate companies. I think it's going to be one company.
No.
I think Tesla is going to acquire control of those companies, and it will end up with Elon being in control of Tesla.
Why Tesla? I thought you were talking about an idea before.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Tesla acquiring shares in each of these companies.
Yes.
For an exchange of shares in Tesla. But the value of these companies have grown so quickly and so high that by him selling his shares in those companies, he will acquire a sufficient Tesla shares to
own
get
it,
to
to
a level
control
of
it.
control.
Wouldn't he just use SpaceX, wait till next year, do a SpaceX IPO, have 40% of that company, and then that will outpace Tesla, and then
No,
use
because
that?
at the end of the day, the bots belong to Tesla. I mean, there's equal weight value, potential value in each of these companies. He needs control of them all. He's got control, absolute control of SpaceX, XAI. You know, those two companies have absolute control of. He doesn't have absolute control of Tesla. But here's the reality. How much money, how much capital do you think is going to be needed for this entire plan over the next 5 years?
Trillions? I don't know. I guess you
1.2
calculated.
trillion.
Yeah.
1.2 trillion is what I think the answer is. I'm probably out by maybe 100%. It could be 2.5 trillion. It could be 600, but it's far more money than SpaceX, Boring Company, Neuralink, XAI, and Tesla put together.
Gotcha.
Can raise. But if they're put together, they can raise that money. So look, orbital compute is going to demand $700 billion to implement 7 gigawatts over the next 10 years. And that's the minimum it's going to need to scale to, in my judgment. At $100 million per gigawatt scale, per megawatt scale to 7 gigawatt. Now, so 700 billion is going to be needed. And then the gigafab alone is going to need, over the next 5
Terafab.
years, $125 billion.
Mm-hmm.
$30 billion to build and $95 billion to sustain it. The cybercab fleet, what do you think the cybercab fleet is going to cost? At $25K per, we're talking about $175 billion. You don't find that small change in the street.
Interesting.
And what do you think the Optimus fleet is going to cost? Even at 30K a unit, 20 to 30K a unit, if you're going to have 1 million units and a 7 million annual ramp, you're going to need $200 billion. What does that all comply? That's $1.2 trillion. Tesla's not going to raise $1.2 trillion. SpaceX is not going to raise 1.2 billion, and XAI, but combine them, and over 5 years, you've got that kind of money.
Wow.
So I think they're going to have to combine. I think they're going to have to combine under the Tesla umbrella.
Wow.
And I think that by combining them, I think Elon, with all his tranches, will fall into like that 30% control situation.
Oh man, Larry, you're amazing. I'm doing a show with Brian Wang, and he has calculated, his research is showing that AI data centers, he said, is bigger than Optimus. And I just cannot understand how that's possible. I want to understand from him, but
he could be right. He could be right, because the AI data centers need something like 700 billion, and Optimus only needs 210 billion. So
that's the expense side.
That's the investment side. So if you look at that size of investment, your return has to be concomitant with that investment.
Gotcha.
So I haven't done the numbers to look at the returns. He's done those numbers, and he's pretty damn good at numbers.
Good.
So all I can say is that I'm looking at the capital that they're going to absorb. It's clear that the data centers in the sky are going to be the bigger business.
Wow. Okay, Larry, I love it. Love it. You're incredible, full of information. Perfect. Just a couple quick points I just want to make. Don't want to linger too much on this, but Elon is spending midnight meetings at XAI in Memphis, that their data center, all hands on deck, building the world's best data centers with maniacal speed and efficiency. Here's Elon and the team. He also met with Supermicro CEO, and this guy is saying, hey, we partnered with XAI again to build the world's first gigawatt data center, and then Colossus 2 in Memphis. And then this guy, Dennis Felty, I don't know who he is, but he wrote this incredible article, so I wanted to showcase it, The Convergence Juggernaut. So he talks about humanity's entering a transformative threshold. It's going to be the most significant event in human history. And he talks about how, different times, epics, I think some people call them, in history, where inventions, technologies come into play, and it just changes the entire world, and it brings in other inventions. And that's where we're happening right now. Emergent technologies are converging in a manner that is also expressing extreme coherence. Instead of each evolving at its own industry, our emergent technologies are morphing into powerful singular systems that draw on a collective power of its component technologies. So Tesla and the Musk economy are leading this transformation, where each of the component technologies is creating an increasingly integrated system. Then he goes on and on and on about all the different benefits that having this ecosystem available. And I'll go through each one of them. So you get, for obviously real world AI and end-to-end neural networks that can provide autonomous mobility, right? So if you can have data centers and you've got the chips, then you're going to be able to have the most end-to-end neural networks, the best for autonomous mobility. Grok is going to be embedded in Tesla cars. It's going to be embedded in Robotaxis. It's going to be embedded in the Optimus. Grok, Optimus, and Tesla cars will communicate with SpaceX Starlink satellites. So just this week, SETI released a patent and shared a patent that he discovered that showed that Tesla's glass roofs is going to have embedded something in it that allows for Starlink communication. Makes sense, right?
Yeah. I think it's going to take some doing, because it's a phased array. I don't know how you embed. It'd be quite expensive to embed a phased array into glass.
Or is it
I
patent?
guess it can be done. So I'd love to read that patent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tesla Energy will
let's
produce
see.
power from mobility, right? So Tesla Energy, right, happens to have
Mhm.
it's handy to have an energy company producing batteries for, of course, autonomy, the cars, data centers, and Optimus, right? Musk companies have the capacity to design and manufacture tens of millions of product units, right? The expertise, both, even Starlink. Starlink has mass producing these, what do you call them? The antennas that you
Satellite.
have in satellite.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no,
Are you talking about the antennas, the
the
phased array
antennas.
antennas? Yeah.
But they're like shoebox size, and it's all automated. So it's not like even Starlink has got a automated manufacturing of small devices. Um, okay, expertise. Tesla has expertise in designing, building, and operating mega factories. It's essential for various products to go to scale in the tens of millions of units. Will manufacture a large percentage of the V5, V6, V7, V8 chips, the terafab. Those chips are going to be used in Tesla cars, robotaxis, Optimus, and data centers. Tesla cars, robotaxis, Optimus will offer highly integrated communication at the user level, where one's personal agent will be present in all devices. So they all need Starlink to communicate. As the last show we did, Gavin Baker explained very clearly why it's so much faster for a device to communicate to a satellite than it is to go through all these roundabout
Fiber
ways.
optic. Well, fiber optic is simply carrying a laser signal through the fiber. But when you just send a laser signal directly through the air, it's dramatically faster. So that's why satellite to ground communication is faster than satellite to ground to fiber to a phone.
Tesla will probably produce a handheld device that is fully integrated into the Tesla Data X and XAI economy. So this is where Tesla's device works with XAI and X, of course, and then it works with Starlink. Oh my God, XAI
But
is
do you think this is
producing.
a better use of the capital that Tesla has than sending it back to shareholders?
Larry made a joke just to get everybody caught up. A year and a half ago, there was a huge push by certain segments of the Tesla bulls who said, and some analysts who pushed really hard that Tesla should be doing buybacks, should be doing dividends, mostly buybacks, because of stock. And Larry is like, dude, you guys don't know what's coming, right? Robotaxis and bots, and then AI, and if they had given this back to shareholders as buybacks, what a waste. Yeah, Tesla's an innovation company. So funny. Some people don't have the vision that you do or that Elon does. So this is crazy. So, there's more, right? XEI is producing Grok and probably soon general superintelligence that will be accessible to all MLs of the Musk economy. All this stuff so far, I think we're all tracking along nicely. I think he gets to more things here that we haven't thought of. Tesla is directly manufacturing key elements of a supply chain to include chips, batteries, and mining rare earth minerals. I bet you that will come into play when you Starship lands in Mars or the moon and you can mine minerals, asteroids.
I'm not sure there are any rare earth minerals on the moon that are easily
Helium.
obtained.
Yeah.
Helium
Tesla and
is
XAI.
it's not a yeah. Anyway,
Tesla and XAI are fully integrating chip engineering, chip design, and manufacturing. So the two of them are already working closely together. SpaceX is developing reusable rockets that have the capacity to reduce the cost per ton delivered to space, to include Starlink and space. Okay. Okay, yeah. So SpaceX will offer high-speed global connectivity to Tesla cars, robotaxis, Optimus data centers, probably Tesla phone. Yeah, and I'll pause here for a second. I mean, so far, what's your thoughts on all this?
yeah. This is really an index of all the potential touch points that each have, but they're all very consistent. In everything that we've seen and that we've witnessed being put together. Just all of them are underpinned by one thing, and that is the algorithm, Elon's algorithm, starting with first principles. And so when you have first principles thinking, then these things come together. Sometimes you don't even know that they're going to come together, but they come together because you're working from first principles. So, yep.
Let's keep going. Tesla robotaxis, data centers, semi trucks will communicate with each other using the high speed connectivity that will facilitate AI management of highway transport, mobility, and safety. They'll provide billions of hours of real time data for training and inference. That is huge. Several million cars, robotaxis provide billions of miles of real time data for training. Tesla Insurance will provide individual risk-based insurance for Tesla cars, robotaxis, semi-trucks, and Optimus. A driver who makes extensive use of autonomous driving will have lower insurance costs. Tesla has individual driving data in each driver. Okay, yeah, there you go. Tesla cars, robotaxi, and Optimus may have excess compute capacity that will be accessible to everyone, XAI and others. SpaceX will develop space-based data centers. I'm just looking for something else here. I think most of this kind of seems to be repeats. And I think this one is what you were talking about. Tesla has $40 billion in cash. Musk companies collectively have capacity to raise hundreds of billions of dollars. That's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
XAI and 2X has over 100 million users, allowing the 100 million users, allowing the Musk economy, 100 million, to communicate with all the members and market system products. And XAI is about to launch X Money. That's apparently already being used by employees. And so that's going to launch next month or this month. The Robotaxi app will probably be included in all X subscriptions. Yeah, I mean, there's this part here. It's just crazy. The payment systems and all that. And eventually Neuralink, brain machine, robots. So each user of services within the Musk economy will have a personal agent that will be present, accessible in all devices and functions. Our personal agent will arrange and coordinate most life functions: communication, healthcare, general information, entertainment, investment, AI systems. That's where we're going. Yeah, single brain. Yeah. And there's going to be more startups probably coming up too, right? I mean, I was just saying recently, Larry, that genetics is just really software. It's really software code. If you're creating AGI, wouldn't you tackle that as well?
Well, Google are far ahead in that project.
True.
They've done incredible work. They looked at protein folding, and they're probably further along. So DeepMind and Google have really they've aced that, and they're far ahead in that. I'm not sure Elon is going to pursue. He's very focused on physical engineering, So I haven't seen him really pursue genetics or cellular biology with great vigor. So it's possible
the one that I am predicting is food, because if you go to Mars, they need to figure out how to generate food, and that seems to be the next thing. And of course, and drones.
I'm not sure food is such a difficult problem. I don't think it's a problem that needs an Elon level solution.
Okay. And then, so just what's your thinking about? Like, so you said, okay, the money wise, that's one reason they would have to merge. But do they have to merge with all of these potential benefits like that, or is just potential partnerships is enough?
I think that adds very significant benefits by merging as a single entity. I was very opposed to the idea of a holding company from a financial perspective. But now that we have such incredible integration in terms of the problem-solving mechanisms, I see, and because the financial challenge is so great, the writer of that post just said they can raise hundreds of billions of dollars. Well, not like they could raise hundreds of billions of dollars if they were a single entity, or at least channeled through a single, holding entity. And I think that holding entity by necessity has to be Tesla. And there's nothing to stop Tesla spinning off the robot business, or spinning off the car business, or spinning off the robotaxi business as additional subsidiaries, to give them, to allow them to become centered and independent operations. But obviously, if they were one, then the use of the assets and the use of and the ability to help each other becomes higher, greater and
But
more apparent.
but isn't that the argument? People say that you don't want to have a conglomerate like a GE. You actually do not take the valuation of your conglomerate is much less than
It's
if you
not
just
a
split them up.
conglomerate. It's not a conglomerate. It's an AI. It's an embodied AI company. It's an embodied AI company. I don't think it'll be marked down the way a conglomerate is marked down because it's a single AI embedded. The same way as Boeing is an aircraft company. Now they make multiple different types of aircraft and they're in multiple different markets and they have multiple different product lines, but they're a single company.
Isn't that funny? Yeah. Surprisingly, converging is what Elon said. My companies are all surprisingly converging.
And it's
Could be the
because it
hint.
starts from first principles.
Yeah. Can you explain a little bit more what you mean by that? I mean, like,
Well, if everything starts from, the basic physics and from first principles, and you start 3 or 4 companies, because they're using the same principles, they will all look to the same physics, the same mechanical laws, the same physical laws, the same, communication capabilities, the same compute, and so they'll draw upon, given how all of these functional capabilities are converging on AI, and given that they all have these industrialization challenges and they're not that different from one to the other, there just is, it just converges rather than, you buy this company that does XYZ and that does ABC and that does FY. There's no sense or value to that. But there's huge sense and huge value and huge additive value between each of these pieces. So that's why they're not in any way, shape, or form some form of conglomerate. 3 years ago, when we first looked at this, 4 years ago, when we first looked at this, they were a completely
got you.
divergent companies and diverse companies.
Now
Now
you
they're
have
no
that
longer.
thread that brings them together and actually
Embodied AI. They're an embodied
embodied
AI
AI.
company, and
And
they
then
need
and together.
multiple. They
Yeah.
need
They're no
multiple
longer
layers.
separate. They're really the
That's
same
right.
thing, right?
They have
Different
multiple
devices.
layers. At the top, you have the
Yeah.
AI generation, and then you have the AI inference, and then you have the mechanical devices that use that AI, and it's really one
They're all the same
enterprise. Yeah.
So do you think that Elon? I mean, the answer is yes, which is this company, all the companies are going to keep spinning out more products, more companies, because we're already at that point where things are going to go up. Somebody
They
said to me,
shouldn't spin out more companies. They should spin out more products.
more products. But like Optimus, for example, is such a huge market that once you create a bunch of Optimus and you keep, your product is a factory and he creates millions of these, billions. What do? Well, guess what? Tesla could create a clothing company and have bots make clothes. They can make anything, any product.
I'd be opposed to that.
Why is that? Yeah.
Because it's not, those products have no added value to their product range or their product line, what they're doing.
Okay.
So you're not going to embody AI into a piece of cloth or into a piece of clothing. You're not going to embody AI into some other
Making
consumer
bicycles. No.
What are you going to make refrigerators with AI in it? Are you going to make bicycles with AI in it? If you were going to make a device that has AI-driven mobility for somebody who has no mobility at all, that would make a whole lot of sense because you'd be using all the mobility functions of Tesla and the AI abilities, and that product would be adding value, huge value, where none exists at the moment.
Yeah. You know that XAI, of course, is heading towards AGI, eventually ASI. But this thing can actually run businesses. It can create a business. It can create websites and products and by itself. There was a mystery AI that nobody knew who it was, and then Elon confirmed that it was actually Grok that they released to actually go and gave it money, went to the stock market, bought stocks, and it completely outperformed all the other LLMs in making money. So this is a investing bot. These things that are creating can create all new kinds of businesses, and whichever they want to do, they can get into. So, but there's millions of ideas that's going to become available. Of course, space-based AI is so massive. Optimus is massive, and maybe that's enough to just focus on that.
I don't think that Tesla is going to get into any business that isn't a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity. That's my guess.
Agreed. Yeah. Wow. Okay. But the point is that they've all converging, and this is just, there's probably a whole bunch more list here. I thought that this started to feel like it was kind of saying the same thing over a few times, but there's so many things that each of these things all rely on each other. And because they do, I don't know any other company out there that could even, as we said, Waymo needs to partner with NVIDIA to get the chips. They need to partner with a car maker to get the car. They need to partner with Avis to clean it and infrastructure, and they need to get the supercharging and batteries. It's like they have like 20 partnerships. Uber maybe, here and there. Tesla just does everything, and they've got their own partners. That's enough.
It's an exciting future.
It is. Thank you so much, Larry. That was fun. We did 2 parts to this show, and Larry was the perfect person. He is so knowledgeable about both space and AI, and of course, Tesla. We appreciate you giving us that knowledge. And then now you've been pushing, or not pushing, I guess. You just think and believe that some sort of way that Tesla is going to be invested in SpaceX, and then what Elon might need to do as a company. Maybe need to merge them somehow, or somehow. Yeah, you've got proposals. You've studied this. So I think we covered that in a previous show. Thank you. Unless if your ideas have changed a bit or evolved, you should come back and explain that in more detail.
They'll evolve as the value of these companies evolve. They make life easier for Elon to maneuver.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, Elon has been very loath to essay
go public,
financial engineering. And so I'm not sure he's going to start now, but that's what I think should happen.
Thank you, Larry. Follow Larry on his X account at Tesla Larry, and go check out his new website, lumacenti.com. Thanks. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.